Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome to the World Rapid Chess Championship in 2019 in Moscow. So after 3 rounds we had a funny situation. Ilia Smirin and Gadir Guseinov, two top grandmasters from Israel and from Azerbaijan, had the perfect score, 3 out of 3. And in the round 4 they faced each other. We had, I think, a great game by the two of them because they both have, I think, a similar playing style. They're playing this, I like to call it this old school USSR playing style, this really Russian school sort of chess, and with some great tricky openings, with some great tactical lines, and that's why I decided to show you this game from the round 3. The winner of this game will be the leader in the tournament because Magnus Carlsen played some good chess, although but he has so far 2 wins and 2 draws, so he has now only 3 points. The winner of this game will have a whole point in front of Magnus Carlsen. So let's see the game. Here we have e4 played by Ilia Smirin. Here Gadir Guseinov played c5, knight to f3, and we have g6, the hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense. And I really like this opening. I played most of the times myself, so that's why I wanted to see how this game ends, what white will prepare here in this particular line. And if you have troubles maybe to play as black against e4, you can also check out my series. I've created more than 20 videos in this hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense series, but from black perspective. You can check it out on my YouTube chess channel. Here g6, and here Ilia Smirin plays this bishop to c4 move. It will transpose into the so-called boulder attack with c3 d4. The main idea is to get this pawn center control, and that's why you have to play here after bishop to g7 and c3. The most common line here is to move e6, because here after d4 you have to take, and if now c takes d4 happens, then you have to crack the position immediately here in the center with to move d5. You have to battle, you have to struggle against this white annoying pawn center control. So after something like e takes d5, we can take out again e takes d5, but now after bishop to b5, knight to c6. And here I think it's an equalized game. White has a good activity with the pieces, but still you need to castle. Here in the continuation, I think you can play something like bishop to e3 from black's perspective. Here knight to f6 followed with castling. But I think you got all of this tactical mess of this very nice opening. Here in the game, knight to d4 was played, not c takes d4, and this move knight to d4, as I said, I played this opening as black many times. The main idea of this particular move is to play knight to b5 and knight to d6. So that's why you would be forced to play first the move a6 in order to prevent this knight to b5 outpost. So that's why here Gadir Guseinov played the move a6, preventing knight to b5, and now castling played by Ilia Smirin. So you see here Ilia Smirin plays on a fast development. The main problem for white here in this particular line is that you have this pawn on c3. You would love to have, of course, your knight on a very active square c3. If you try knight to d2, then you're blocking out your bishop. So there are also disadvantages in this particular line. And here queen to c7 was played by black, and this is not I think the best of lines, because here maybe d6 is a better possibility, or maybe try to play immediately knight from g to e7. If bishop to g5, I think you can even try some f6 moves or h6 moves, kicking away simply the bishop after something like bishop to h4, maybe even g5. But at least you can try really now finally this pawn breakthrough with the move d5, which is our main idea. But now the main difference is you don't have to create this isolated pawn situation, because you can recapture with the knight, even with the queen, and then maybe somehow try to activate your light square bishop. But this queen on c7, it's playable, but there is I haven't seen a game so far in this particular line. It seems now that black has already made a theoretical mistake, because at least now the opportunity here for Ilia Smirin to go into a very calm line, first with bishop to b3, fixing first all of his pieces, improving of course this very powerful center, and now get use of this activity of this bishop. So here knight to e7 was played, and you see now the problems of this bishop to g5 move, because the queen is not covering anymore the knight, and you cannot castle. That's the main problem. If you try knight to c6, then again we can take knight to c6. Again, you have to make another move with your queen, maybe to defend the knight on e7. So if you try f6 now, I think it's weakening the pawn structure too much. There are also some tactical possibilities with knight to e6. If the king castles, with the support of this bishop, this could be really, really tricky. But our main goal basically here is then, after something like castling, is to push f4, f5, cracking the position and get the use of this light square diagonal, because black doesn't have a good piece to compete with this light square bishop. That's the main problem. Knight to c6, knight to a4, a5 or similar is, I think, a little bit too slow. f4, f5 is much more powerful. This bishop is blocked out, and we have solved our dark square problem with our problems with our dark square bishop, because now it's possible to play knight to d2 and this common idea f4, f5. So you see bishop to g5 already very tricky here, and here black tried queen to e5, and here Ilia Smirin plays very tricky move f4, kicking away the queen. If you take queen takes e4, rook to e1, and your queen is trapped, unbelievable. You would be lost in move 10 immediately. So here the queen doesn't have any squares, so that's why again this queen to e5, it's a mistake here by black, giving Ilia Smirin an extra tempo. Here queen to c5, simply retreating with the queen, but now f5. Now this is the main idea of the so-called boulder attack, to create this pawn breakthrough, to open the f-file, to open the diagonal for the light square bishop. And you see these three pieces haven't participated in the game at all, are not participating in the defense of the black's king, so that's why this is already very tricky. And the main threat is also here to simply continue with the move f6, creating a fork on the bishop and the knight. So many tactical possibilities for white. Black is simply on this on the defense here and has to defend accurate if black doesn't want to lose this game. So g takes f5 was played, and here simply bishop to e3. The queen is endangered here. You see black played many moves with the queen. The queen has to retreat somewhere, but here f4 was played, and now rook to e4. It seems now again that black can try the fork here with the move e5, but Ilia Smirin has prepared here some great tactics. If e5 here, then we have bishop to f7, and it's basically a forced checkmate, because if you go knight king to d8, then we have knight to e6, first the check, and it's game over, because you cannot of course take, and you don't have anywhere the c7 square, so that's why you would be forced to go king to f8. But again, the same idea, knight to e6, you have to take, and now queen to d8, a very nice checkmate. So tricky stuff. Very attractive play here by Ilia Smirin. After rook takes f4, we have queen to c7, and now knight to d2. You saw the problems about this move e5 here. That's why knight to g6 was played, kicking away the rook, but now rook on f3. Now the idea is to change a little bit the direction of the attack, because now we could try rook to h3, queen to h5, and the problem is that black cannot castle into white's attack, because the pawn structure in front of black's king is a little bit weakened already with this move knight takes g6. You see we haven't our pawns compact, they're not glued together, so that's why this is already a better position for white. So knight to c6, finally black is trying to activate these pieces, but here it's already too late, because knight to c6, as I said, we're not allowing this knight to chase our bishop, because the bishop, the light square bishop, is our best minor piece on the board. And here Guseinov simply took b takes c6, and now knight to c4, again with the idea to play knight to d6. Very tricky move, which would of course prevent black from castling, and this knight outpost on d6 would be very dangerous, followed probably with some moves like bishop to c5. This could be game over already, so that's why d5 had to be played. We have e takes d, c takes d5, and now knight to b6. The fork on the bishop and the rook, you have to play rook to b8, and now knight to c8, rook takes c8, and now queen on e2. And let's now evaluate the position a little bit. The problem is, again, I hope you realize, if you castle, The main idea is to play rook to h3, queen to h5. You cannot do moves like h6 because the bishop is attacking that. So you have some defensive problems here, several options here. But the main idea for black here to defend is maybe to try e5 and then maybe a d4 pawn breakthrough. But you see, after the move queen on e2, here after queen to c6, rook to f1, here Ilia Smirin already announced a perfect attack. Now the pieces are basically on the best squares. The queen is on a very powerful square covering these two diagonals, also with some discovered attack possibilities against black's king. We have a perfect battery on the f-file. The bishop's activity is perfectly fine. We have an open position, which is very important because the bishops love open positions. And here rook to c7, you have to defend this pawn on c7, and now it's still a bad position for black because you'll never have the rook connection anymore in the continuation of the game. So here rook to h3, here king to f8 was played, and now bishop to c2. Here you can also try some very aggressive moves instead of this rook to h3 idea. You could try h4 immediately, because the problem is you cannot take knight takes h4 because rook to f4 attacking the knight. If you retreat, then bishop to a4 pinning the queen, and it's game over. If you try knight takes f4, rook takes f4, the same idea happens. You have to take the bishop, and this is again game over. So after rook to h3, you see Ilia Smirin didn't play here the move h4. In the game, king to f8 was played, and now bishop to c2. We have d4, trying some kind of a counterplay, but it's not possible because we can simply go bishop to d2. We have queen to b6, trying some discovered attack possibilities by the queen, and here Ilia Smirin simply goes with the move king to h1, getting out of this dark square mess, and that's why here queen to b2. Okay, you got a pawn, but the game is basically over. As I said, the main problem is this lack of the rook connection. Now there are some tactical possibilities. Rook takes bishop takes g6. If you try h takes g6, then we can simply take rook takes h8, and after bishop to h8, we have bishop to h6, this discovered attack with some checks, and of course you lose the queen in the next move. So you see, very nice tactical preparation here by Ilia Smirin. Here Guseinov played d takes c3, creating sort of a counter attack against white's bishop. But now bishop to f7, very nice move. After rook takes f7, we have rook to f3. You have to take rook takes f3, queen takes f3. You have to go here on the d7. There is no better square for you. Queen to f7, we have king to d6. We have simply queen takes g7. You cannot take, of course, with the pawn because you lose the queen. If you try to take with the queen, then you simply lose the rook. So these are the problems. In the continuation, rook to c8 was played, but now queen to d4, we have king to c6, and now queen to c4. In this position, Gadir Guseinov resigned because there is no good square for a king. If you try king to d6, then you get another check with your bishop. Here, with the support of the rook, you're basically getting checkmated, and this is game over. Even if white doesn't manage to checkmate here, you're still continuing the game with one piece up, and this was a great attack against his hyper accelerated rank Sicilian defense. You saw the problems, how important it is to know theory, chess theory. Here, let's go back to this move queen to c7. Here already it's a move. Let me see. Here after bishop to b3, we have pardon me, let me see which move is that. It's in move 7, in which Gadir Guseinov gets out of theoretical preparations. So this is not a good move. Unbelievable. You see how these top grandmasters even make mistakes in an early stage of the game. So this is, as I said, it's rapid format. The rapid format is fun to watch because we get many of these mistakes. That's why I like the rapid format more than this classical format. We get many of these great tactical games, and here Ilia Smirin has now a perfect score, 4 out of 4, and will continue now the tournament in the lead. We'll see what will happen. Maybe he can also win this tournament. It would be, of course, a surprise, but if he plays like this, it wouldn't be undeserved, I think. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game. Meanwhile, you can watch my other commented chess games from the series, and you can also watch my best chess games of all times if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.